Welcome back. Today I'm with Megan and Amber from Children and Family Services, and today we're going to be talking about foster care. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good. Good. How are you?
Good. So thank you for coming and visiting with us and talking about this important topic here in our community and the whole state of North Dakota. So do you want to tell me a little bit about each of you, ladies?
Hi, I'm Megan Colbenson. I am local to the Stanley area. I am a licensing and level of care specialist with Children and Family Services.
And I'm Amber Nix. I am a licensing specialist with Children and Family Services, and I'm local to the Minot area.
Well, thank you, ladies. So let's start off with asking how many families are here in Stanley, North Dakota that are foster parents or foster homes?
So in Mountrail County, there are 18 licensed foster homes. However, the population in Mountrail County is around 10,000 according to the 2020 census, So 18 homes compared to 10,000 population number is significantly small. So I would say that there is a very high need in Mountrail County. For example, in Ward County, how many do you have?
I have 62 homes in Ward County. Granted, population is quite a bit bigger than Mountrail County, but the need is significant statewide, I think. For every 10 homes that we license, we lose 9 of them, whether it's to adoptions or, foster families just needing a break.
Okay.
Yeah, in North Dakota at any given time, there can be 1,500 children in foster care in the foster care system and 960 licensed homes across the state. So
that was my next question is how does that weigh out to the homes that are currently being used as foster homes compared to what the need is?
Yeah, statewide. So that would be around 1,500 in the foster care system and 960 licensed homes.
So is there a compensation for fostering children?
There is a monthly reimbursement that foster parents local receive. That is a daily rate depending on the age of the child that you have in your home. There are also specialized payments available for a wide array of things such as athletic fees, school pictures, athletic clothing, those types of things as well.
Okay. So how long is the process?
So the department likes to hope that it can be done within a matter of 45 days once they receive the background check and fingerprints. However, that can vary depending on the family, work schedules, life happens and stuff like that. There are several home interviews that are conducted. So it is a process. It just depends on, the availability of schedules and things of that nature.
So you would say about 45 days after I submit an application, fingerprints.
Once the fingerprints and background check come back, about 45 days from that point is the goal.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. So as of right now, you said 18 homes, the process about 45 days. Where do these children go right now if there's an emergency case or something? What happens to these kids?
Sure. So out-of-home placement is the goal, and it's meant to be temporary. However, we always would like to try and look for other options such as other relatives, kinship placements. I think when people think of relatives, they think, biological aunt or uncle or cousin. However, kinship placements can be things such as a coach, a family friend, a pastor. Different kinds of roles can be considered for these children if there is a risk. And we like to look at that because it is less traumatizing to the child and to the family if we can find someone that they're close to and already know and are comfortable with.
Okay. So there is other options, but obviously, as the ladies were saying, there is a need out there. So we want to make sure that if you're interested, you can always call them up and, get more information and see where you can start from that. Because there is a need and these kids would be left without a place to stay, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you can find a coach or a family member or somebody where they can stay safe. But is there if there's no room, where do they go? Do you guys take them? Do they go to a hotel? I mean.
So some of the other options would be, another thing that we are recruiting for would be for on-call services.
Okay.
So for example, you pick a week out of a month that you are able to be on call. It's a 7-day period. you can get a call during that time. You are reimbursed a $100 fee for that week. And then there are not $100 fee, $100 reimbursement for that week.
Okay.
There are other reimbursement options if you get a child placed in your home during that week, or children. Like Amber had said earlier, depending on the age, there are additional reimbursement options. The other option that the state has right now are licensed shelter care facilities. The ones on the west side of the state would be Sunrise Youth Bureau, which is in Dickinson, YouthWorks, which is in Minot, and the Northwest Youth Assessment Center in Williston. And these facilities or locations are able to take children ages 10 and older for a short temporary stay.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So there is options if somebody wants to help out, but they don't have a full-time availability, they can be on call. So they can be, they can go through the process and just pick, like you said, 1 week out of the whole month. Wow, that's real. I didn't know that. So that's really good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So foster care overall is something that we want to make sure that these ladies answer any questions for you. If you have any questions, please type them down below, and we'll be more than glad to maybe bring them back and they can answer more questions for you. But reach out. There is a need out there, and it's not that hard, right? I mean, what are the requirements to become a North Dakota foster parent?
So
Yeah, go ahead.
you have to be 21 or older, successfully pass a background check, be financially stable to care for your home. Providing foster care is a reimbursement process, not a income. And also just completing that home assessment that Megan had spoke about. I do those, and they can be up to 3. Actually, the minimum is 3 home visits. They can go more depending on the size of the family and scheduling and how that stuff works. But the home assessment process can be, pretty lengthy. But it is a wonderful process. We get very in depth about the family, and that's it. It's pretty easy.
I am free to learn.
I am free to try.
I am free to succeed.
I am
USFlagpoleGuide.com. I'm Jim. I am USFlagpoleGuide.com. Please join us today, USFlagpoleGuide.com, for American-made flags and flagpoles. Please join Tripper and I today, USFlagpoleGuide.com, and thank you.
I am free!
Okay, so people here in the community, why should we consider becoming a foster parent?
I think that there are multiple reasons to consider becoming a foster parent. I think that the number one interest would be, or number one reason would be, the best interest of our children. Our children in our community, they're all of ours. We live with them. We don't live with them, but we live in the same community. We're going to interact with them, and we want the best interest of our children to be able to be met. A few other reasons might be you have extra space and you're able to assist and care for children. You have the desire to help families in need. Like I said earlier, if you're able to and willing to work with families and children, this is probably something you might want to check into.
And I think specifically in Montreal County, it's a very close-knit community. And keeping the children here, in the local community is very important.
Yeah.
And with 18 homes right now, with children coming into care in this community, a lot of them are being placed elsewhere. So the need is very high to keep them local.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's very important to try to keep them local. And if you're out there and you have, like you said, a home that is empty, or some, what do they call them? Empty nesters, right?
Yeah.
Where your kids are out to college and now you have an empty home. Well, this would be a great way to help each other, help the community out. And, I know I've had fallen in love with a lot of these kids when I was working at the school. There was a few times where even now I miss them and I care about them. I want to make sure that they're doing well. So yeah, this is something very interesting. So we talked a little bit about, there's different types of, foster care can provide. I know there's temporary ones that you said. So how many options would a person have?
So perfect. There are a couple different levels. You don't have to be a full-time foster parent. You could provide shelter care. Shelter care is a short-term alternative. So With providing shelter care, it doesn't mean necessarily that the child comes into formal foster care. It doesn't mean that there's going to automatically be a court order assigned. That's up to 7 days. So say a child is at home and there is a present danger, and the child just needs to leave the home while the parents work through the situation. The child could go into shelter care with a licensed foster parent for 7 days. That doesn't mean they come into foster care. The licensed foster parent is still reimbursed. And then the child goes home once that present danger is mitigated.
So it's like an emergency basis.
It is, yep.
Okay.
Also, there's respite care. Respite care is a little different. So say you're a licensed foster parent and you have a child in your home with high behavioral needs and you need a break, or the child needs a break. Respite care can be up to 4 days. So if you need a break, another foster parent can help you out, step in, give you and the child both a break.
The regular foster care?
Oh, regular foster care. Yep, that's just the normal foster parent. So you get a child into your home, long-term, short-term, that you honestly don't know what it's going to be.
Okay.
You're reimbursed for the daily rate of the child until the child can be reunified with the parents.
Okay. And there was 2 other options as well, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the first, well, not the first. In addition to Amber's, the next option would be a host home. These host homes are, again, meant to be a short-term placement, and they are for victims who have been identified as sex trafficking victims. So there are these host homes. And then the next option would be treatment foster homes. So they are kind of like regular foster homes in the sense that you can go in there for short-term, long-term. You don't know exactly how long. There are a little bit more time restrictions on treatment foster care, as they have to have specialized training and specialized support for those youth, which differs from the regular foster care.
But you provide all that training and you provide all that information.
The training would come through, if it does need to be state required, yes. Otherwise, typically Nexus Path is the ones who license the treatment foster homes, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So it just depends who the licensor is, yeah.
So what is the process? Let's say I call today and I want to start this process. Is there an application I fill out online, or what happens after I call you?
Sure.
Yeah, so once you call the recruitment and retention line, you will be directed to a licensing coordinator. They'll help you start the background check process and help you fill out the application, as well as getting references. And they will do all of the reference checks on you. Once that is all completed and the background check comes back successful, then you're transferred to a licensing specialist, which is what I do. At that time, the paperwork starts, the home assessment starts, and then our 45-day clock in order to get your license completed starts. So.
Okay, and there's obviously training for the parents that want to be foster parents, right?
Yes, initially there is what's called Pride training. Pride training is 27 hours worth of training, and that is something that is newly required to be completed prior to being licensed. In addition to that, we have annual training that needs to be completed as well, 13 hours of annual training, 2 of them for cultural or diversity training, and fire safety as well.
Okay, is there like CPR training too or something like that?
It's not required right now, but it is really highly encouraged.
Okay. So what would you say is the need? Like if there's somebody that is looking for, I only want to take care of 2-year-olds. Is that something that's possible, or?
Yeah, so a family foster home can be licensed for up to 6 beds if there's adequate bed space available. And if they do have preferences, we would support those preferences. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Amber had made a good point to talk about more of, I think people feel that the need is for younger children, and absolutely there's a need there. However, one of the higher needs right now is for those teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and that's something that I would think, that there was a need for newborns maybe or for younger children, but I'm glad you mentioned that there is a big need for teenagers and older children, right? So just know that if you're thinking well, I wouldn't want to have any other kids other than 2-year-olds. I mean, they are willing to work with you. So just call and ask, and they'll be more than happy to answer any question. If there's only a particular age that you want to stick with, they can help you with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think the important thing too with the foster care stuff that people don't realize is like the options of shelter and respite. Like if you're not ready to dive full force into being a foster parent, there are like the shorter term.
Yeah. Things to kind of
Options.
get your feet wet.
Yeah.
See, and it's good to have these options, because if you think of foster care, I thought you had to be committed,
Right.
you had to do all these long-term things, but I'm glad that you were able to touch on, you can do short, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be, or like you said, just kind of, go by and see what it's like to even start doing it.
Right.
I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll fall in love and do it for a very long time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
The hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people reach you at? Is there a phone number they call, or is there a website they can go to, or?
Yes, if you're interested in foster care, there is a recruitment and retention phone number you can call. It's ran by the Children and Family Services.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you ladies coming in today, stopping by, and giving this information out there to our community. So, as a community, as a person that lives here in Stanley, North Dakota, let's get together and help out and see how we can be a foster parent if possible, or have a home open up for these foster children in our community. So thank you very much for stopping by today, ladies.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.